All right, everyone. Happy first of the month. Hope y'all are doing well. Today is November 1st, 2024. And today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be getting off politics for a day. We're 4 days away essentially from the election, so nothing really huge going on in the news other than just some quarreling between the parties. So I'm going to get off politics for today and I'm going to do a tech review for you. And the review that I'm going to do is on something I just purchased last week. And I wanted to kind of show everyone, talk through the specs, let everyone see what it's about, give my rating/review on it, and go from there. But today, I am going to be sharing with you my review on the Samsung Odyssey Ark, the second generation of this monitor. So, first off, this is an absolutely monster monitor. This is 55 inches, bigger than a lot of the TVs that I have in my house in different places. It's huge. It is incredibly heavy. It probably weighs, in the box, it probably weighed 100 or more pounds. I actually had to have my wife help me bring it in the house in the box just because it was so gigantic and awkward. And she had trouble lifting it. So it was incredibly hard to move, incredibly heavy, and a little bit difficult to set up for one person, but still got through it. Although I did need her help lifting it up onto the desk. But you can see here, this is the second generation of this monitor. It's a 4K UHD 165 hertz monitor, the Quantum Mini LED. And it is a curved gaming screen. You can see on the screen here, the price that they're currently showing is $1,800, which kind of sucks actually, because last week when I bought it, it was $2,000. However, last week when I purchased it, it also had kind of a bonus where you got a free Samsung G3 27-inch monitor, which is shown here. These things right now, they're on sale for $160. So I guess it was kind of a wash, but I got two monitors for one. I didn't purchase it through the Samsung website. I actually went to just a local Best Buy and purchased it. And Best Buy wasn't running the same promo in terms of getting the additional monitor for free. They had the monitor marked down to $2,000, but they weren't running an additional free promo or free monitor promo. So I pulled this up on my phone and I was showing them this and showing them that Samsung on their website gives you the option to pick up in store. You can see here, you can pick up in store at a Best Buy Mayfair. But after I went through showing them this at Best Buy, they actually gave me the monitor for free as well. So they kind of price matched what Samsung had online, so to say. But in terms of the monitor itself, the cool thing about it, it has cockpit mode to it, which is you can view the monitor horizontally as well as viewing it vertically, why can't I switch here? Which looks like this, which I'll show you a real picture of in just a minute here. But an incredibly cool monitor, an incredibly expensive monitor, probably too expensive for what it is, although it is cool as hell, I will say. So with that being said, I'll kind of jump into my setup. You can see here the monitor itself, right? This is on my desk. It doesn't look as big in this picture as what it actually is. This thing, like I said, is absolutely massive, especially when you're sitting, 2 or 3 feet away from it in your desk chair. I have 4 different inputs running on this monitor, and that's one of the cool things about this monitor is that most other monitors do not have, is this multi-screen mode, right, where you can see up top in the right, I have an Apple TV running. On the bottom right, I have a gaming laptop, which you can see right under the monitor here, a gaming laptop running, and just have Fortnite up, just showing you the capabilities. In the bottom left corner, I have my MacBook Air with the M2 in it. And then on the top left, this is just a built-in news app that's running via the smart controls for the TV. However, there are 4 inputs to this TV. There are 3 HDMI inputs and then 1 DisplayPort input that you can use. So you can use all 4 of those inputs to have up at the same time. You can also kind of, I'll see if I do this anywhere in this video. No, I don't think I do. But you can kind of move and adjust. Oh, here we go. You can move and adjust how these different pictures look. So you can blow one up, and here's our balls to the walls friend over here. You can blow one up so it looks bigger than the others and still have the other three on the side. You can do this on the other side if you'd like. You can expand any one of the 4 screens that you have going. You can also set it up where you have only 3 screens and 3 inputs running. You can set it up where you only have 2 inputs running. However, I will say when you set it up to only have 2 inputs running, it doesn't look all that great. I wouldn't do it that often for anything. But it does give you this really handy capability. And a lot of people would ask, what would you even use this for, right? Well, one thing could be just sitting and gaming while you're supposed to be working and have your work screen up on one of them. So that's probably one of them. The other ones are, I think of people that do a lot of stock trading and have multiple screens up and multiple inputs for looking at various charts throughout the day. Or you could just have, your news up while you're working and have 2 things going at once, right? I do want to go back to a couple things here. The monitor itself does come with 2 remotes. So it comes with this remote that you see right here, which is kind of that small dial remote, which is, in all honesty, a really awkward remote. It takes a lot of getting used to. I think the point behind it is you're supposed to scroll through it. You're supposed to be able to use it to scroll through how you want your inputs on the TV set up and where you want them set up and selecting them easily. I don't like it. I am probably never going to use it. I'll probably just use the remote that comes with it. The remote that comes with it is, let's see here, just the standard Samsung remote that you see here. All of the Samsung, the new ones at least, come with that, the solar panels on the back of them, so they just charge automatically. They also come with the USB-C chargers at the bottom. There's no batteries inside or batteries that you need to replace, but they're really nice little Samsung remotes. And again, the remote works much better than what the dial does. Here's the dial. Again, there's no charging port on this one. This one is just the solar charging. But again, I'll probably never use this remote. I see absolutely no use for it. The next thing I want to talk about is just the box that this comes with. I have to skip to a different video here. So here is the box that it comes with, and I'm showing the side view of it right now, but this is called the Connect One box. And on the side here, you can see it has some USB ports, it has the 5 volt, it has the HDD, and then has a FireWire PC connection here as well. On the back, let's get rid of this audio. On the back, we'll just pause it here, and we can see again another FireWire. We have an X-Link and 2 USB-C PC ports, the optical, and then a LAN over here. So this Connect One box is supposed to work like a KVM. So if you have multiple computers hooked up via HDMI, you can switch between them, and you can use your keyboard mouse to control all of the different inputs that you're running. I haven't really tried this yet, and the only reason I haven't is because I really don't have any need to be switching from computer to computer right now for anything using the same keyboard mouse. If anything, I'd have like a gaming console on one of the inputs and a computer on the other. But maybe someday in the future I'll test this out, and I'm sure it works fine. I had a previous Samsung monitor that had KVM capabilities built into it. It was a 43-inch, but it was a flat screen. So it was really hard to look at because it was still a really big screen, but because it was flat, when you looked at your peripheral views to see all of the screen, it was just hard for your eyes to adjust. This monitor being curved is incredibly nice to look at, even up close. I'll play through this a bit and show you. So here are all of the connections. You can see it has the One Connect. This is the one cable that goes from this One Connect box up to the monitor. And then it has the 4 inputs. So it has one HDMI 2.0, and two HDMI 2.1s, as well as a display port here. Some people might want to know what's the difference between HDMI 2.0 and HDMI 2.1. HDMI 2.0 really allows for 4K at 60 hertz, right? Whereas HDMI 2.1 allows for up to, I think the spec at least allows for up to 10K at 120 hertz. And HDMI 2.1 is really useful in the gaming world. That said, in this scenario, this HDMI, or I should say, the DisplayPort itself also goes up to 120 hertz, and this is what I have my MacBook hooked up to right here. I have it DisplayPort to USB-C on the actual MacBook, which works out really nice if I'm using just the MacBook on the screen. It can be setting, it runs at 120 hertz. You can see it within the settings of the MacBook. Works perfectly. The 2.1 in this scenario I have hooked up to the gaming laptop, and the 2.0 I have hooked up to the Apple TV. But regardless of what input you're using, it looks incredibly nice on the screen. The only thing I have a bit of a problem with for the price point of the screen is the pixel density isn't all that great. So when you're sitting only 2 or 3 feet away from it, it seems as though you can still see the pixels in the TV or in the screen, which it is what it is. You're sitting incredibly close. It's a huge TV. I'll take that. I'll take that one hit, that one con compared to the rest of the pros for this. Let's see here. Here you can see as I scroll through just different inputs. What do we got here? Yeah, this is another thing that happens every so often. You can see before here, this is the fourth input right in the top left, and that computer actually went to sleep because it hadn't been touched for 30 seconds or a minute or whatever the settings are set to, and it went to sleep. That input goes completely black up there, and then even when you wake the computer up just via moving the mouse, the input itself doesn't wake up. So multiple times I've had to remove the HDMI cable from the laptop and then reinsert the HDMI cable for that input to finally pop back up again, which is weird. I see a lot of people online complaining about the software that Samsung uses for this TV. I mean, I think the software is okay. It's probably just little glitches like this that haven't been fixed yet that should be, given the price point of the monitor and it being Samsung, one of the biggest monitor companies in the world, or else one of the biggest names at least. So there are some quirks that I see like that with this. My MacBook did the same thing when I was originally using HDMI to connect the MacBook, where I disconnect the MacBook, go and take it somewhere else, use it somewhere else, come back, reconnect it. Typically, the MacBook would save the settings you had previously when connected to the monitor. This one, it didn't seem to save those settings all that well, so every time I reconnected the MacBook, I had to go in and change the settings back to the highest resolution, as well as the different hertz rate, or even enable HDR again, right? So there are a couple quirks with it, a couple software kinks that people have been complaining about since the first generation of this monitor, which maybe Samsung will fix if enough people buy these and enough people use them. That said, I don't think there's a ton of market out there for people buying $2,000 monitors, right? But let's see. The last thing I want to show you is just this monitor when it's in cockpit mode, right? So hopefully you can see this. I'll minimize the other ones. It's kind of hard to see given how I film this just vertically with an iPhone, but what I want to get to is you kind of put it all the way up, as you see there. You put it all the way up. You can move the screen all the way up, and then you turn it. And this is cockpit mode. So with cockpit mode, the most inputs that you can run at one time simultaneously is 3 instead of the 4 that you get in the horizontal mode, right? But you can see the news streaming on top. There's the Apple TV in the middle, and then there's a gaming laptop on the bottom here. I mean, this I think could be, just as useful as the other one. For only 2 inputs, this works really well also. But for 3, it gives you a good screen size for each one of them. This is hard to look at when you're actually sitting in front of the monitor. I mean, the room that this is sitting is like a 10-foot tall ceiling. The bookshelf that you see, or the desk behind it, probably goes up 9 feet. So the very top of this screen is probably 8 feet, which it doesn't look like in the picture, but you're sitting there 2-3 feet away from this, and I mean you're literally just looking up at this to be able to see all of it. So it's really cool. If there were actual games where pilot games or something of the racing games, whatever it may be, this might be fantastic. But I don't know of any games that would run in this full display ratio here, right? So it's an awesome feature. I doubt I will ever use this in cockpit mode. This will probably be sitting on my desk in the standard horizontal mode the entire time. The majority of the time, I'm just going to be using this with a MacBook Pro, and that's it, right? But I doubt I'll ever use this. However, if there's something that comes out that's incredibly cool that I can use in cockpit mode, I will be doing it. Let's see. I think that's my review. In general, I will say the screen, incredibly expensive, right? $2,000 for a 55-inch monitor, not cheap. However, if you're like me, a tech guy, a nerd, you want kind of the latest and greatest, the best of the best. I hate using multiple monitors. I like using one big monitor where I can move around my screens, jump from one thing to another incredibly easy, or see different things going on at different times. I never liked the dual screen setup, and this goes back to when I started working, professionally, 20 years ago. So it's super nice to be able to have real 55-inch computer screens, and then throw in some of the other things here, like the different input controls, multi-view display, all the kind of latest and greatest settings in terms of the inputs, the HDMI, DisplayPort, etc. It's a great monitor. It's fantastic. I'm not returning it. That's for sure. I paid way too much for it, but I think it's cool as shit. So, all right. The last thing I'll say as well, I didn't mention any of this, but it has fantastic sound. I mean, this thing, when you're sitting 2-3 feet away from it, you don't need any other external speakers unless you're, someone that is just jamming audio and wants it loud as hell. This thing has fantastic sound. I mean, movie quality sound when you're sitting 2-3 feet away from it. Great bass, great treble, all that kind of stuff. So you don't need anything more for that, which is a plus. That being said, I think it wraps it up. If I'd have to rate this thing 0 out of 10, 10 being the best, I'd give this thing a 9, and I only give it a 9, or maybe even an 8.5 just because of the pixels. As well as the software and its glitchiness are still a little lagging, and you're paying $2,000 for a nice screen. Samsung should really fix that stuff. But if you have any questions on it, if you have any other questions about the specs, I'm sure I probably missed something going throughout this. Any questions, any comments, anything like that, drop them below, and I will see you tomorrow for another Daily Hit.